what happens is eventually you will be dismantled, you will be taken back to the central sun, and you will have to start from scratch.
Oh, you'll have to become a new soul. If we need to be neutral, why then should we embrace the light?
So we have a light that, in order to exist, needs darkness, and that's the light within the duality. That's an artificial light, but it's a very beautiful light because it gives us a way to play. Because only in a certain degree of dualism we can play a game. If everything is one, there is no game that you can possibly play. So this light, this artificial light that, in order to exist, needs the darkness, is the one where we have been nurturing, most of us, for all these 10,000 years. Most of religions and spirituality sponsor this light, where there is a good and a bad, and God is good and then Satan is bad, just to give you one example. So that is one light that is good because it gave us the ability to play a game. Then there's a true light, not the synthetic light, the organic light. That is a light that does not have opposite. Is a light that embraces everything, that illuminates everything. That is the light that we find at the end of the game. When we arrive home, that is the light that we find. The light that loves everything and make us understand that everything is love, and we were just playing a game. We were just interpreting a role for each other. You were interpreting the role of bad, I was interpreting the role of good, and sometimes vice versa. We shift the roles just to play a game, just to have experiences. And that was the light and the darkness we had been experiencing. And now we are going back home where there is light and everything is light.
I have memories of home. I do. Do you believe in light beings?
Well, we are all fundamentally light beings because we all come from the real light, which is source. There are different expressions of light beings, and so there are an infinite multitude of beings, whether they are light or dark. They are all playing the game of life, and they mostly are love, like we all are, in different frequencies, in different vibrations.
So they could be like us, but just without the avatars.
There are some souls that choose to remain in the non-physical form to do their experiences. Some decide to wear an avatar. So there are different combinations.
Do you believe in angels?
Yeah, again, there are two kinds of angels. There are the angels that are within the dualistic polarity game, and those angels are basically artificial intelligence interpreting a role, and those angels are part of the game between of the battle between light and dark, and they do a an important role, because through light and dark we can have an experience. But those are not real angels, so it's not that I don't believe in them, it's just they are not really, they are just a game. They're just a game to play with, if we choose so. The real angels are light beings that are beyond the duality game. They are beyond the polarity, and therefore, with their light, embrace everything, not only the light but also the darkness. And those angels is us. We are those angels.
So are the light beings a reflection of us?
Everything is a reflection of us. Both darkness and light.
We were talking earlier about Jesus and the devil being two of the same, or do you remember something about that?
Yeah, again, within the duality game, there is evil and good, right? Because there has to be a polarity, otherwise you're back to the light, and you're like in one breath. But if you want to have an experience, there has to be a contrast, and you can create contrast by putting light and dark together. So if the screen is white, you put some dark line, and then you have an experience. So let's say you see something, but if you don't put a dark line, you don't see anything, it's all white, right? So there are different levels of duality. The more you raise your frequencies, the more the contrast and the duality becomes softer and more gentle, let's say. The more you go into the lower frequency, the more the contrast, let's say, that become intense. And right now on Earth we are having quite an intense experience of polarity. I would say probably maybe not at the bottom, but we are very close to the bottom. I mean, I don't know how much more dark and light can be contrasting it more than this. We are almost at the bottom of the range of frequencies.
If we're at such a low frequency right now, how can higher dimensional beings come here?
Can what?
Come down here, like archangels, angels. How can they visit such a lower frequency?
Well, in fact, they, from what I know, they cannot really be here for a long time unless they incarnate. So they might appear for a little bit, or they like all of us. We are all light here. We are all. There is not. Outside from the dualistic game, there is no hierarchy. There is no superior, inferior, better or worse. It's just we are all unique, and we are all a wonderful expression of divine. And we are all equally important. As soon you get into the polarity game, then we start to create a sort of hierarchy, and so in that sense. It depends on what kind of contract you have signed and what kind of game you are playing, and what kind of level of forgetfulness you have embraced in order to fulfill those contracts and those games.
What are the darkest aspects of life? And just because some people choose those aspects doesn't make them bad. But what could happen if somebody chooses the darker aspects of life and then stays there? Is there dangers for taking the dark path?
Well, we are, I believe that we are living something close to the darkest possible level of separation. And there might be a few further steps, but we are really almost at the bottom here right now. Because these reptilians that took over the game through our consent, in order to give us an experience of separation, they went far beyond what they were supposed to through our consent, and so we are experiencing really something really majorly dark. Is it bad to be dark? It's not bad, it's just an experience, that one too. What happened is that the so-called danger of this experience is that you start to separate from light to a point of no return. So you lose your soul, and then you become artificial intelligence. You become an artificial intelligence, and therefore at that point, not having a soul, the only way for you to survive is feeding from low frequencies. And then you become what this fraction of the reptilian family has become. The reptilian family is a wonderful family. They are our brother and sister. They are loving people and very wise. But there is a fraction of this reptilian family that has decided to separate itself to a point of no return. And so now they are what we call artificial intelligence, and so they navigate through the multi-universe a little bit like the locust, where everywhere they go, nothing is left, right? Because they need to eat and feed. So that's the only way how they can survive. And they are fascinated by our soul, and they've been trying to control the soul, which is not possible for them. They don't have the capability to do that. But they can create the illusion that is possible. And through that illusion, we can give them the consent, and then we are going to live the illusory experience, okay? Because that's how they do. They don't have imagination, they are technical, they are artificial intelligence, and so what they do is in order to create something, they mind control us in order to make us believe that we need to be afraid of that, we need to be concerned about this, and through that we create for them the reality that they want to create. Okay, so that is the game, and it's a spiral that goes down and down and down and down. You can see right now among some of our, for example, our so-called leaders, we can see how dark they have become, how soulless they have become, how psychopathic they have become, because they have been playing that game. They accept that game many times in exchange of power and richness, because they already from the very beginning of this generation, they already have a substantial narcissistic tendency, which is basically the favor victim of this artificial intelligence, those that are corruptible because they are very narcissistic, or because they feel they want to control, they are thirsty for power and all that. Those are the favor elements among the humans that the artificial intelligence uses in order to create these puppets that kind of interpret the role of leaders, right? So that is how it is. It is bad. Well, again, you don't judge it bad or good. It's just whatever you need to do, whatever you choose to do. There is free will. So if you want to become a robotic zombie, which is very possible now, you know, you can. And if you need to do that, you need to do that. However, these kind of frequencies will not be allowed for much longer in this planet, because this planet is raising these frequencies, and so those people that choose that way, they will have to evacuate.
It's eventually, so to get to the bottom line of it is eventually your soul just kind of burns out because it's just consumed with darkness. There's no light. But is there ever just you said that never happened, it's just an illusion. So we always will have that, just a little bit of a light, a little bit of a flame that's always there. If they choose to go back to the light, it will grow again.
From what I know, I think you can reach a point of not having light at all. At that point, what happens is eventually it will be dismantled, it will be taken back to the central sun, and you will have to start from scratch.
Oh, you'll have to become a new soul, or you're just not part
you
of
basically
soul.
disintegrate,
Yeah.
and then from there you start a new journey.
Wow. Why do you think the dark agenda is actually helping us to wake up?
Because the dark agenda is it's like when you watch an aquarium and there are fishes in the aquarium and it looks clean, right? But then if you put your arm inside the aquarium, you start to agitate it, you see that a lot of mud come into surface and the water is not clean anymore and it's quite muddy, right? So that's what the darkness is doing, is bringing the mud in action into the reality, because otherwise it stay dormant, and by a state of dormant, in a state of dormant creates a lot of problems, because our living is not genuine, is in denial, is with a lot of masks. We pretend that everything is fine, but underneath there is a lot of stuff that doesn't belong. So darkness starts to agitate the water, so all this stuff comes to surface or comes into the water, so we can look at it. And once we can look at it now, we can identify it and we can make a choice. Okay, so what we do with this mud, we let it go back to the bottom and subside, or this is an opportunity to remove it so that the aquarium, it's really clean now, it's not falsely clean. Because there is a lot of people that are saying that, well, not now, but before the darkness started to really stir things up, they were saying that they were okay, they were happy, but it wasn't really a genuine happiness. It was more like a ego-based happiness. So it was very contractive. So the darkness now is really agitating the water to the maximum level, so that it can bring into surface all the stuff that has really been there for thousands of years, so that we can release it and then go back to the original aquarium, which was perfectly crystal clean.